Footing games are... What are they up to? I know that literally, like, I don't know, just last night or whatever, they revealed more details about Lucy and Guilty Gear. Has there been much news otherwise?
Not really. I do have some topics saved, I believe, if we need them, but
Okay.
there are also news, yeah. For example, to everyone's surprise, well, I don't know how much surprise, honestly, but still, Madagascar, the people of Madagascar are happy about Miarizo, which, I mean, fair enough. You know, representation is a representation. Props to the Tekken team for looking at, you know, people's impression of
In
Miarizo.
color?
No.
I did see... I did see people going on Twitter and saying, come on, Madagascar's in Africa. No one in Africa is that light-skinned. And Harada busting out the receipts and showing off, no, this is what people in Madagascar look like.
Nice. Yeah, no, what I saw was people complaining that Miarizo also has the same face every other woman has. And then Harada also posted images of them going, alright, we're remaking the model. Just the face. We're touching it up, so it looks different.
Yeah. Well, that's nice, but
Yeah.
What about the rest of the roster?
I don't know. I think... let me find that image, because I feel like I remember him going,
well,
we're gonna try to do this with other people too, but, you know...
In my head, I was just for a second like, well, come to think of it, Asuka doesn't look like anyone else. But no, actually, come to think of it, she looks a lot like Zhao Yu. I just don't think of them as looking the same because, for one thing, they have very different hair.
Okay,
and on top of that,
they're doing it with everyone.
Asuka's a much bigger... Okay, well, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
They're gonna be trying to touch every woman's face up so they look different, because what he said is just tweaking now, also fixing a bug where character proportions like Asuka's and others are being incorrectly compiled with the same values. Hoping to get that sorted in the next patch.
He's saying it's a bug?
Yeah, I think that's covering his ass, but you know.
I'm trying to think then if there was any game in the past where they looked different. Because my memory was that Tekken more or less always had a certain degree of same face syndrome.
I mean, not to this point. Like, you know, Julia, like most of the time, the female characters have always been a variant of attractive, but Nina didn't look like Anna completely, and neither of them looked like Christy Monteiro, and none of those people look like Julia. You know.
Well, Nina and Anna were the two that had a solid excuse for why they look similar. They're sisters.
Yes. But even then, like they had like small differences in their face that I remember being. And then, like none of those people look like Lucky Chloe. And I don't even know what other women exist in Tekken. But yeah, like by Tekken 7, we did start getting there with, like, you know, here's an archetypal face. Like this is the Asian woman face.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm stuck on, because I'm thinking like Asuka and Zhao, you do look a lot alike. Lydia, I think Lydia, it looked a little bit different. She had more of a kind of a pointed face.
Maybe, yeah. But like I think that really started being a problem with like Tekken 7. Because I don't think that in Tekken...
God, Christy does look like a darker skinned Nina, though.
I mean, if you look at the teaser for Miarizo, she is Christy Monteiro in a different outfit and slightly shorter. It's horrible.
Okay, I have to pull Tekken 8 Madagascar.
Oh wait, it's Miarizo, right? Fuck.
It's Mary Sue.
Not exactly. But
yeah, her nose is a little more rounded than Christy's, but yeah, she looks a lot like Christy.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
Oh god, what was the chick, the Filipino? Oh, no, probably not Filipino. Wait, was she Filipino? Josie Rizal. What was Josie Rizal's nationality?
I don't remember. I tried to forget she exists.
Josie Rizal whose name was blatantly ripped from real-world history, the real-world historical figure Jose Rizal. But Josie Rizal, if memory serves, looked just like this, but with short hair instead of long hair.
Oh. I think my favorite bit is that when Mary was revealed, someone posted talking about how like lazy the design is and shit, and then they posted an image of Christy Monteiro to go along with it, and like half of the comments were talking about how Christy's model is tired.
Christie's model is tired?
Yeah, like how it's the same thing we've been getting and shit, not realizing that it's not the new character.
Oh, I see. Oh, shit.
So yeah, like, if they fix the face proportions, good on them. Like, you know, if people start looking like different people again, cool. Or well, if women start looking like different people again, because the men look different enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't confuse Kazuya for Jin on any day of the week. If you removed every single part of them except their face, I wouldn't get them confused. If you removed Kazuya's scars, I still wouldn't get them confused.
Yeah.
Jin generally doesn't look like he's flexing every single muscle in his face at the same time on any given expression.
Yeah.
Kazuya, with half the fucking looks he has, is the epitome of, like, he should just be radiating the noise.
He's doing that internally.
He's trying to take a shit.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, he can't, he doesn't look like he ever takes it easy, Kazuya does.
Yeah.
He's looking at his shoe collection, and he's pissed.
Yeah, because he doesn't have enough shoes.
Well, he's looking at the shoes and thinking, oh man, I have to kick Heihachi to death again. But he's just gonna get back up.
Yeah.
We're gonna eventually get to the point where Kazuya is gonna kill Heihachi in Tekken 13. And it's going to be like when Mo threw Barney out of the bar, right?
Yeah.
Kazuya is going to throw Heihachi into the volcano and laugh. And he'll cut to behind him and Heihachi's already there.
Yeah. But he came back like a demon, like Jinpachi.
Oh god. See, no, that would actually start to make sense. That's the thing. Remember, Heihachi in Tekken 8, his thing is just like, fuck you, I'm too badass for a volcano.
Yeah.
Now that's like, come the fuck on. So we're acknowledging nothing can kill Heihachi then.
Yeah.
Like, the great thing is that...
someone should bankrupt the Mishima Zaibatsu and see if that takes away his life force.
Well, God, Heihachi is so invincible, seemingly halfway just for plot reasons, that if you took away the Mishima Zaibatsu, he would just instantly make a new company that would actually be twice as good as the Mishima Zaibatsu.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a thing I complain about every time Tekken comes up, just how absurd the plot has gotten. But, like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
and the great thing is, Heihachi in Tekken 8 bursts out of a volcano. And that's just the thing we're supposed to expect. Like, okay, yeah, Heihachi's just tough enough to do that. Tekken fucking 12, I bet you will still have a major plot thread of everyone thinks Heihachi is dead because he got shot with a gun once.
I want them to do his Tekken 5 ending. I think that it was his Tekken 5 one.
Oh boy, I can't remember which one that was. Jog my memory.
He ties Jin, Kazuya, and Lee to rockets and sends them to space.
I think that was... Oh god, he had
it was
that
either 5 or
6
6
times. I know in Tekken Tag 2, he ties all three of them and also Lars to a rocket.
Oh yeah, because that was not canon, they just referenced the earlier one, I think.
Tekken Tag 3, he's gonna just put
There's not
all
gonna be a
of the
Tekken Tag 3,
cast...
what do you mean?
That's true. That's true. Not unless there's some big innovation that makes graphics.
That's not going to be a Tekken Tech 3 until Bandai Namco is on the verge of bankruptcy, and they go, all right, fuck it, Harada, do whatever.
Yeah, I do feel pretty happy blaming Bamco for a lot of this. But I feel like the thing that gets in the way of a lot of dream matches ever happening again with HD graphics is the fact that HD graphics are expensive. Excuse me.
I mean, I don't know, because like the last Tekken Tech didn't sell like 5 million Fortnite times. Like,
no, it didn't. It didn't. It actually did quite poorly.
And so like, you know, I would assume that like even if the technology was there, Bamco would be like, hey, you know, just make Tekken 9.
If they could make it on the cheap, then they could pump more money into the marketing. But
like, I genuinely think with how Bamco has been with any IP that I look at that they handle, I think if Bamco could make a game for free, if it's an IP that they don't like at this moment, they would go no.
Well, when we get into just simply looking at it as Bamco, if you put a gun on the desk, they will, without hesitation, rush like Gollum with the One Ring to pick up that gun, jam it firmly in their throat, and pull the trigger, just unload it into their own cranium. Then yeah, from that perspective, they're not going to do it. Which you're not far off, because they haven't done anything really good in a long time.
Yeah, like genuinely, the more whatchamacallit, the more of Bamco's IPs that I try to look at, the more it becomes clear that Bamco is successful despite themselves. Like, they don't want to handle any of their IPs; they just happen to own them.
Shit.
Like, it's fucking Digimon is getting money for the first time in ever, really, to make a game. And like, you know, the game, from what I understand, like it is one of the better, like it's not out yet, but from what we can tell from the gameplay previews and shit, it is one of the better Digimon RPGs that they have made ever. And like, it looks really nice and shit. I would be surprised if it doesn't come out that they made this on like the budget of, I don't know, half of a Pokemon. Not a game, just the model of a Pokemon. You know? Because that's the sort of money that Bamco shops around, unless your name is like Dragon Ball.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But anyway. I guess speaking of, Virtua Fighter 6 doesn't see Tekken as a competitor. Or competitor, even. But yeah.
Well, okay, there's two ways of taking that. One is the actual answer of, we don't think we're similar enough to Tekken for it to matter. But there's the much funnier answer of just saying, oh, Tekken nowadays is just such a joke that it's irrelevant.
Yeah. Tekken has lost the plot.
Which it has.
Yeah.
Now, I don't entirely trust the fan base to give up on Tekken this quickly and say, fuck you, Tekken 9 better be better. We have seen people abandon fantastic games and let them rot while also throwing loads of money at games they hate.
Yeah.
It just happens. People are screwed up like that.
I mean, that and also there's a thing that really...
I would love... Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
There's also the thing that really upsets me specifically, which I have seen in numerous arguments online, or even just relating to fighting games, which is the appeal to popularity.
It's always stupid to see that come up in an argument, certainly.
You know, I literally saw, like, at least 3 people use the phrase, that many people can be wrong.
Yeah, that's... I think that the people who say that sort of thing don't even really believe it. They're just looking for an easy argument to make in favor of what they like, right?
Yeah, maybe.
If you really are of the opinion that many people can't be wrong, there are so many stupid things that you would do in life driven by that belief that would have to teach you not to be that way, or else it would just kill you. Oh, man. Smoking crack? This many people can't be wrong. Oh, man. Yeah, I can certainly hope, though, that if Virtua Fighter 6 is going to offer the better product, that they will be better. More than likely, what they're saying, though, is what we are doing is so different from Tekken that we don't think it really matters. Yeah. Tekken, which, if they're going with the sphere of, okay, Tekken has gotten very competitively focused, they've moved away from interesting stage design, they've moved away from high-quality graphics, they've moved away from a lot of stuff that made...
I need to interject. With stage design, I actually learned recently that Tekken 8 doesn't even have infinite stages anymore.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, genuinely, Tekken 7 was the last game with infinite stages and it only had the one.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks bad.
They removed it because some people, because apparently it was a part of the tournament rules that the loser gets to decide the stage. So what would happen during tournaments is one guy would go with an infinite stage and then run the clock out, and the next guy would choose a stage that's small and they'd win, and then the other guy would choose the infinite stage again and run the clock out, and that was how the tournament was decided. And that seems like an easy fix that doesn't involve removing those types of stages, which is just we choose with random, and whatever you get, take it. You don't change it after.
There's also the rather simple answer of just because something isn't competitively viable doesn't mean you need to just remove it from the game altogether. Because at the end of the day, many of the fighting game pros and many of the fighting game tournaments are going to just say, okay, we go to the frame rate dimension.
Yeah.
Because, from the sheer competitive viability aspect, the frame rate dimension is the most competitively viable. There's the least bullshit going on screen to distract you, and there's the least stuff going on that messes with the frame rate.
Yeah. The frame rate dimension and Karate Man only. The true competitive
Exactly! Standard. Hang on, I gotta step out to bring the cat in. I just looked at the clock. Right, I think Alright, so... I think if they're saying that, okay, Tekken has deviated from the cinematic-themed roots away from making matches that look more impressive, even if they're not necessarily competitively balanced perfectly. And admittedly, Tekken's also not doing a great job of that, because currently this state of Tekken balance is really bad. But nonetheless, if Tekken is moving away from having single-player features and impressive graphics and interesting stage design in favor of keeping things as simple as possible, as balanced as possible for competition's sake, then we here at Virtua Fighter 6, or rather, we here at Ryuga Gotoku?
Yeah, Ryuga
Studios? Gotoku. Okay. We are going to not necessarily make a game that's competitively non-viable, though really such a thing is not possible. Look at Smash Melee and Marvel 2.
Yeah. Especially Marvel 2, really.
Yeah. We are going to instead make cool shit that looks cool. So if that's what they're going at, I absolutely get it. Otherwise, I don't know what that means. Because Virtua Fighter and Tekken are very similar, and a large part of why Virtua Fighter died down as a series is because Tekken replaced it.
Yeah, I mean, that's also like we could see history repeat itself, but the other way around, because Tekken replaced Virtua Fighter strictly because Tekken had a story mode. Tekken had characters that people cared about. And
yeah, that'd be a twist.
And so you know,
that's not the case anymore.
Yeah. That was the reason that Tekken won out in the end. Regardless of what you think about the relationship between the two games. So if Virtua Fighter comes back and it has an actual story mode, it has actual single-player content and shit that Tekken is lacking now because they're focusing on esports, then there's a good chance that Virtua Fighter sticks around and Tekken goes away. Which would be very fucking funny in the long run.
Tekken's been so kind of invincible on top of the fighting game sphere for 10 years now that it feels ridiculous to say that, but crazier things have happened.
I mean, you see that, but like Tekken, I like Tekken because of Tekken 5. Like, I've been a fan of Tekken since 5. And, well, technically since 3. But, like, Tekken...
Neither of us are big on the biggest Tekken.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, Tekken 7 and Tekken 8 are... Like, because like Tekken 6, it had its foothold, but like, before Tekken 7... if you asked people what are the big three, Tekken would have been the fourth.
Yeah.
And like,
ooh, okay.
Because the big three used to be Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, King of Fighters.
Oh yeah, and that would have died down in the 2000s because, well, of course, Mortal Kombat had its rough period, and King of Fighters effectively died out of the. And even then, we're talking on a global sphere, because in the States, King of Fighters was always pretty well a niche game. In the States, it would have been pretty well always Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, barring the little period, would have been Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Virtua Fighter. But of course, America is not the world, and King of Fighters, of course, has much more relevancy in South America, Europe, Korea, Japan, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Of course, in Japan, Mortal Kombat wouldn't be in the runnings. It'd be Street Fighter, King of Fighters, Tekken.
I'm trying to think of what else it could be to make it funny, but I don't actually know, because like most of the things that you could shout out have been dead for a while.
Yeah,
like the real funny one would have been the big three: Street Fighter, Virtua Fighter, Asuka 120. The indie game that was actually genuinely big, but then like the people who made it went bankrupt, and then the devs got together on their own time to make a balance patch that made it competitively viable. That's a genuine thing that happened. The devs made one last patch after the development team dissolved. To make the game, like, to give one last balance patch to the game on the fucking Saturn that you had to download from the internet and patch your ROM with. So yeah.
Not to interrupt the FGA with this nonsense I just saw while I was using the SNK wiki to compare for the Ikemen. Well, I'm setting it up. Which spoilers for a video that will come out much later, y'all.
It's coming out next December.
Okay, spoilers for a video that is upwards of a year from now. But I have found something.
Oh no.
And I'm going to put this in general chat. This is apparently an official thing. This is apparently, I don't know if it's a character you can unlock or a power-up. Okay, it looks like so. There's a Metal Slug mobile game that came out in the last couple of years from Tencent, apparently, going by the SNK wiki. And it looks, so Mai apparently is one of the characters you can unlock to play as in it. And somehow, I assume this is like a power-up or something, you can turn Mai into, okay, do you have the voice text open? Okay. Somehow you can turn Mai into Fat Mai.
All right.
Designed specifically for Pink.
Yes.
So let's get back to FGA while I will dig further into whatever this is.
Okay. Then, Sony is investigating the fact that Marvel Tokon is region locked.
What?
Yeah.
How do we know that?
Steam.
Steam. Did you say Steam?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I forget what exactly the reason is, but all of Sony's Steam releases are region locked, and they have to like fuck around with the code of the game to make it not region locked if they want to.
Oh, for fuck's sakes!
Yeah. So people have been complaining about Tokon being region locked because you can tell on Steam somehow. I think it's on SteamDB or whatever the fuck, the website where you can look into whatever updates that any Steam title has had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people have been looking there, and apparently it is or was region locked, and people have been sending it to Sony, going like, "Hey, what the fuck?" and they put out a statement like 2 weeks ago saying, "Hey, we know, we'll look into it. We'll try to make it not regional lockdown release."
Okay, that's good that we've gone ahead and sorted that out now, so it's not going to be a problem later on. I do want to note.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me put this also. So apparently, Leona's also in this Metal Slug game. And I don't give a shit about this game. I bet it sucks ass because it's a mobile game and it's 10 cent, yada, yada, yada. But I am thoroughly amused that it also leads to Fat Leona.
It should be Orochi.
She looks... Orochi Leona's angry. This Leona looks very happy to be fat. There is not a lot of anxiety about her weight here.
Yeah.
Oh! I hope to God these are official, because if somebody did this for a really high effort meme and actually put it on the SNK wiki under the character galleries, then I commend whoever did that, but I'm also sad that it's not official. All right, behold this Fat Kyo.
It's also 98 Kyo. For some
Yes,
reason.
it is.
This Kyo has visited the bodega a little too much.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Sadly, these are the only KOF crossover characters.
All right.
Oh, that is good, though. That is good. We need these guys in KOF 16.
Yeah. They're all Dragon installs.
And they need to not play any differently. They still do the same moves.
Yeah.
The same speeds. Oh,
all right.
shit.
Mortal Kombat 12 is the best-selling fighting game of this generation. Surprising no one.
Yeah, well, you'd think it surprised the folks at Warner Brothers, considering that.
It surprised Zaslav, sure, but like it surprised no one who's actually in the fighting game scene. Like, you know, it's
we've done what? Oh shit. It's also not completely shuttered. They are doing more balance patches, surprisingly enough. They just released one and they're asking around for the deeds. They want feedback for more balance patches. Which is strange, because everybody's like, oh, this is done. I'm glad that that's happening. That's really cool. I would love for them to do more of what they do with Baraka and Melina, of the ability to not use your Fatal Blow and instead get install supers. But that's probably going to be the theme of Mortal Kombat 13.
The team of Mortal Kombat 13 will be remaking Street Fighter 1, but with Mortal Kombat characters.
And David Zaslav will keep the members of NRS in little cages with tasers attached. And anytime they have a thought that makes them excited and makes them go, this could make the character cool, the taser zaps them.
Yeah. Cool doesn't save us money. Like every day,
look very frightened.
Every day they hold a vote, and whoever they vote doesn't just get fired; they get killed. They get thrown out of the building. they get thrown out of the highest window in the building, in the cage.
Oh There's an interview at some point with Ed Boon, and Ed Boon just looks kind of frightened, and he's very very subdued. Like, yeah, we're thinking a more reserved Mortal Kombat would be a good choice, a more pulled back one. We're not saying no to any cool idea, and then you just hear a shotgun pumping off screen, and Ed looks over to the side, very startled, and goes, "We're not going to be experimenting with anything here. We're going to be keeping things very slow and very subtle.
We're simplifying things so that new players can get accustomed to Mortal Kombat easier."
If you've been scared by Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat meta in the past, this is the game for you. And he very shakily raises one thumbs up to the camera.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This sounds pretty baller.
Finally, a return to footsies.
Yeah. Which I always think back when...
we're removing the skip neutral button.
Oh, shit. I always think back. Good old Max. Regardless of whether you think he's a shill or a coward. Well, no. I'm not disproving any thoughts of him being a shill or a coward, but nonetheless, Max always tries to have a positive spin on things and go like, well, it's not for me, but this fighting game made someone really happy, yada, yada, yada. I always remember very distinctly with him talking about how he really didn't like Mortal Kombat 11. His attempt at providing some kind of positive spin on it just so he wouldn't anger whatever fan base he was afraid of angering was, well, for people who wanted a slower Mortal Kombat that had less action, they haven't got a game since Mortal Kombat 2. So, hey, good for them. And I always remember that and think, yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate.
Yeah. For people who want the lame shit, the shit that that we used to get because we didn't have technology, it's cool.
What?
For fans of Karate Champ.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Yeah, that really in Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 11 are kind of the only games in the series that just don't have any crazy nonsense. It's just now some of it's cursed nonsense. None of us are wanting to play Mortal Kombat 4.
Yeah.
We won't act like Mortal Kombat 4 doesn't have tech. It has tech, but nobody wants to play it. It sucks ass.
We're not gonna act like Mortal Kombat 4 doesn't exist. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. When we say Mortal Kombat 9, we mean the 8 games before that includes Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's really wild how they released Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe twice, and one of those times was on the fucking the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, I gotta say it was really weird, just abruptly bringing Quanch. Shinnok shows up in Mythology Sub-Zero. He doesn't show up in any of the fighting games until Armageddon. It's weird.
Yeah.
Who's this Kai guy in Armageddon? Who's Jarek?
Some loser.
What? Why's he got a lasso?
What? Why Cyrus Black?
Just an off-topic thing that passed in front of my eyes while I'm fiddling with the Ikemen, by the way.
Yeah.
A little spoiler for the next time we play Ikemen, which again will be it's not a spoiler for the folks at home. They'll forget by the time this video comes out where you see it. But one of the characters I have picked up is Unlucky Glauber.
Nice. Basketball and then a nuke drops on him. Mortal Kombat 12, speaking of, was added to the PlayStation Plus game catalog.
Hey, cool. But I was about to say more people will get to play it and see that it's a cool fighting game. Evidently, the problem is not the lack of people playing it.
Yeah, no, I think...
The thing that occurs to me now for this whole sales thing is like, oh, Mortal Kombat 12 actually did really well sales-wise. And it's like, oh. So it probably wasn't shuttered by Zaslav because of lack of outright upfront game sales. it was probably shuttered by Zaslav because there wasn't enough MTX being sold.
Yep.
Which makes a lot of sense. MK1 did push, MK12, whatever, did push the MTX pretty hard. But it's funny to compare that to MK11, which had the most, like, weird, gentle way of pushing the MTX that I would assume would not have sold. And then MK1, they're like, yo, we're all in on this shit.
Yeah.
Also, seasonal sales of character skins. Why? Just release costume packs.
Yeah.
Every Mortal Kombat since 9 has done that. Why not just release costume packs?
Let's see.
What?
See, if you buy the costume pack for $5 to $10, then you spend $5 to $10 once. But if you do seasonal costumes that you can buy for 400 fighter coins each, and you can only buy 300 fighter coins or 500 fighter coins, that makes it so. You, by the way, 300 fighter coins is like $3, $4. And 500 is like $6.
Yeah, though I question, like, when we compare it, though, like, to other Mortal Kombats, there's going to be people who pick up all the costume packs because it's like, I gotta have it all. And all of it's right here, so I'm going to get it all. Even for characters they don't play. Because Mortal Kombat 11, I would not have purchased the movie pack. But, oh, hey, it's here with all the other DLC, whatever, I'll get it for the bundle. MK1, I just went, no, I want Deception Melina. And that leaves over a little bit of Dragon Coins, so I'll get Christmas Elf Reptile because it's stupid. And I never bought a costume again. The only microtransaction I got in Mortal Kombat 1 was Deception Melina and Christmas Elf Reptile.
Yeah, and like, you know why? Like, the reasoning that they went with this setup is genuinely just, have you seen Fortnite?
Shit, before Fortnite, League of Legends.
I mean, yes, I suppose, but League of Legends wasn't like, it wasn't the trend to chase for most of these guys. Like, it wasn't a mainstream trend. There were people making MOBAs, but people didn't look at, like, you know, there weren't people fucking in COD looking at League of Legends and going, yes, we need to do that.
I feel like there's a screwy thing here also with discussing, like, the amount of players in your multiplayer game and how much you can get your friends to play it with you. Because Fortnite, it's pretty well just a given thing. You get your friends to play with you, especially because a lot of Fortnite's players are going to be teenagers who are going to go to school and meet other kids that play Fortnite. And they're going to be like, yo, we should hook up and we should all play Fortnite together. We should, you know, make a squad and get in there. So you want to get a paid for skin so that you look different from your buddies and you get something that appeals to your identity. Whatever. It's clothing in a game, right? Clothing is, you wear different style clothing from everybody else to set yourself apart. Otherwise, you just wear a fucking blue tracksuit every day. But in a fighting game, the character in and of itself already separates your identity on some level. The Blanca player is well aware that he is the Blanca player. The Blanca player considers Blanca the primary identifier of himself. And there may be a couple funny costumes you can release for Blanca. You know, Blanca-chan, whatever. But Blanca is already a major identifier to separate. So I question how much that comes in. And also, Mortal Kombat, you don't team up with your friends. You fight one person at a time. Even if you do have a gaggle of friends together, only 2 of you can fight at a time. The rest of you are going to be spectators. And you're probably not even going to do that. You're probably going to all be fighting each other independently.
Yeah.
Add on, of course, Mortal Kombat does not necessarily have kid appeal. Excuse me, it does, but Mortal Kombat is going to have a lot more parents say, no, you can't play this than Fortnite does.
I don't know, I feel like someone that is also slipping right now, because someone from Take-Two or Rockstar, I forget which one, but one of suit from, I think it was Take-Two. A suit from Take-Two said that they're scared of Roblox because Roblox is gonna be taking away from their demographic, and like that, wow. Like everyone already knew this, but you saying this makes it worse.
Yeah, I mean, I think a dev at Rockstar or a PR guy would have the wherewithal to not say the quiet part out loud, right?
Yeah. Like I remember it. If I remember correctly, it's someone that's like high up at Take-Two that said this.
I think it's one of those things that I think people just kind of knew, of course. But nonetheless, I mention this every time with, excuse me. I mention this every time that Roblox comes up. I find it bizarre that Roblox is even still a thing, let alone a thing that is all the rage with the kids right now. Because Roblox was around when I was a kid. I would have thought the youngins would have moved on or would have looked at this thing and went, you old people stuff. But I'm not a marketing guy, so what do I know, right?
I mean, yeah, that's a part of it, and the other part is that, like, Roblox, from what I understand, currently is filling the Little Big Planet-shaped hole in the market.
Was Little Big Planet big with the kids?
I mean, there's a certain subset of kids that it was big with, from what I remember, where it was, you know, like 50% of the audience for Little Big Planet was people who wanted to make games, make levels, shit like that, because that's cool. And the other 50% was people who wanted to make games made by other people like them. And that's why Little Big Planet had such an audience. And, you know, what were the most played game modes in Little Big Planet? Fucking survive the level while there's a big tsunami. One of you is a killer, kill the others, from what I remember. Variants of the... Something like that, yeah. Something similar. Or like, no, it wasn't one of you is a killer. There's an NPC killer on the map, you need to run away.
Okay, I was about to say, because, like, I remember when I was playing Trouble in Terrorist Town back in, like, the early 2010s. I was looking back on it the other day and thinking, man, at that time I had no idea just how much of a monster Among Us would be just like a scant decade later with the same idea, just taking it and putting it from a first-person shooter to, for all intents and purposes, a point and click.
Yeah. But like those two variants of those two, and then like some outliers, like, you know, here's a fighting game, quote unquote, or stuff like that. But
oh god.
But the two most popular level types were escape and survive the tsunami, and escape and survive the killer. Now, I have a niece. I know some of the things that she plays. Wanna guess what they are?
Oh, in Roblox?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I assume Roblox Among Us.
No.
Okay, shoot.
No. The games she plays in Roblox, the ones that have big population, are Escape and Survive the Tsunami, Escape and Survive the Killer, and Tycoon. Those are the three archetypes. Like the only difference between
God.
Yeah.
Tycoon is still a thing?
Yes.
That was a thing when I was a kid.
Not only is it still a thing, it's the only thing separating the major archetypes for Little Big Planet and the major archetypes for Roblox in levels.
I guess that shit just keeps up. Okay, my memory was that was just the easiest one to program, at least when I was a kid. So that was the one you saw a ton of, because it was just, you have a money system, put it in buildings.
Yeah.
And make big buildings, and the big buildings make more money. Like Monopoly, except the players can't fuck with each other.
Yeah. So yeah, like those, I think currently there's also a bit of a, whatchamacallit, like there's a rising trend or something like that of like monster collecting and stuff like that, but that's also not really the case because they're usually grafted on top of Tycoon games. So like, you have a regular Tycoon game and then you also get like a Sparkle Pony and then you can sell it for money.
Oh.
Something like that.
Huh.
So yeah, that like I what was I gonna say? Like I feel like with Mortal Kombat targeting people like Fortnite, I feel like that's them like halfway saying the quiet part out loud, where it's like, yeah, the target audience for Mortal Kombat is people between 6 and 12. You
Yeah,
know?
I think there is. I do think that the more that your game is trying to push the boundaries and be edgy, the more you're going to wind up instead appealing to kids who are really curious about the stuff that they're not supposed to be seeing.
Yeah.
The oh, sorry, go ahead. The oh, okay, just take it away for a second. There's
All
something
right.
distracting me. Thank you.
Well then, I don't really know what to say about fucking Mortal Kombat stuff. Uh, because I feel like we've really discussed like most things that really affected Mortal Kombat 12 during its lifetime. Because like the gameplay, when we played the one time, like the gameplay felt completely fine. You know, it had the problems that I have with Mortal Kombat usually, but like that's just Mortal Kombat. So like I can't really fault it for that. And otherwise, like the game felt fine. The game definitely felt more fun and more interesting than Mortal Kombat 11. And you know, aside from Tremor being in the game, like he's the major blemish. But aside from him, like you know, it seemed
You
fine.
always know who the monsters are going to be in a Mortal Kombat game based off who the characters are that when they're released, people are like, he's got some good stuff, but he's a little weird. That's always a sign, oh, he's going to be a monster as soon as people figure him out.
I don't dislike Tremor because he's meta defining. I dislike Tremor because he's Tremor. I don't like Tremor. Like there are plenty other meta-defining cameos and characters just in general in fighting games that I'm fine with because, like, you know, whatever, they're in the game, they're fine. I don't dislike them. Like, I can't dislike characters just because they're oppressive unless it gets to the point of, like, fucking, I nearly called him Leroy Jenkins, but Leroy Smith. Or like the Williams sisters in Tekken. Like you'll notice that most of my complaints when it comes to these characters are Tekken, because in Tekken it really quickly devolves to there's two guys in the fucking entire EVO tournament who aren't playing these two characters, maybe one. And they also get killed immediately.
Yeah, I saw Sajam actually talking about how that gets screwed. That tier whoring gets lost. He didn't say tier whoring, of course, because he's Sajam. He tries to be a little bit more diplomatic about things. Yeah. But how tier whoring can be a lot worse with Tekken because Tekken characters functionally behave so similarly compared to other fighting games. Wherein like Arxis especially, you're going to see a lot of people who refuse to tier whore, not even because they're morally opposed to it, but just because it's like, I only know how to play Faust. I'm not switching away from Faust even though Faust sucks because I don't want to. I have no idea how to fucking rush down with Soul's tools. I put out item and then I dive kick.
I thought you were gonna say I put out item and then I die. That's your competitive strategy.
I do think that's interesting to look at when you compare the various fighting games. Like, okay, which fighting games historically have been the worst for the competitive players tier whoring? Tekken is pretty bad about it. It generally is that the top 8 in any game is going to be a lot of the same characters. Excuse me, not a lot of the same characters from year to year, but a lot of the same characters in each year.
Yeah.
Right? And the year of the Leroy was, of course, the worst. The year Roy, I'm clever. That was the worst, of course. But it keeps going on. And, like, there are definitely still people who champion their characters. There are King players that will not drop King for nothing. There are Armor King players that will not drop Armor King for nothing. There are Marduk players that will not drop Marduk for nothing. Why are all the Tekken character diehard zealots? Why are they all grappler mains, by the way?
They're not. That's just your confirmation bias.
That's true, but I see crazy Armor King fans, and I'm not big on Armor King.
I think people just like him because he's cool. But like the character loyalists, at least competitively, the ones that I saw were like, how are you? Asuka Kazama.
Oh,
Fucking Hwoarang.
okay. Hwoarang, I'm gonna go ahead and say Hwoarang and Lei Wulong are actually right in where I said the Faust, like the Arxis character group is, because those two are weirdos that don't act like anybody else on the Tekken cast. So if you're gonna learn them, you're probably just gonna stick with them, even if they suck.
Yeah.
And conversely, if they end up being high tier, the rest of the competitive community goes, "Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I have to learn the fucking thing." They just look at a table of Lei Wulong stances, and they just start. They're like, "All right." They pull up the PDF of their schedule for the next week, and they just clear all the entries.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think I also saw Lily in Evo.
That Lily's a surprise.
But yeah, like those are the people that I saw who were in tier whoring, and then the other people were just like, you know, Anna or Nina, maybe Jack.
Oh, Jack. And that sounded wistful and fond. I didn't mean it to. I assure you.
Did you know that they gave Jack a gun?
He is a gun.
But yes, but he shoots lasers now. Because fuck you.
Yeah, I mean...
He also has a move that takes up, like, I want to say, 1/3 of the screen.
You know, we actually should appreciate Tekken 8 on some level. Do you know why?
Why?
Tekken 8 has effectively killed never nerf, always buff as a balanced mentality that you will see people seriously advocate for on the internet, at least in the fighting game sphere.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. We've made a mistake. I think there is definitely something to be said for a mentality like that for, like, Guilty Gear. But Guilty Gear and Tekken have very different appeals.
Yeah. Oh boy, just wait until we get to Guilty Gear.
Okay.
But yeah, so what was I gonna say? I forget. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. None of this matters.
Two Strikes is doing a crossover. There we go. That's the word with Baki.
I'm aware of what Baki is. I assume Baki the Grappler, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm aware of what Baki is. What the hell is Two Strikes?
It is once again a revisiting of the game everyone wants. But it is realistic, and if you get hit once, you die. But twice, I guess. Judging by the name.
Okay. Bushido Blade, okay.
Yes. Like every
None of them
gen
really wind up hitting, though, because people don't actually want to die in one hit. They like the idea of it, but then they play it against someone who knows how to play, and they die in one hit and go, bullshit, this game fucking sucks.
Yeah, see, the thing is, people like the idea of killing people in one hit. People don't like the idea of dying in one hit. People, it's the same problem, like, with people going, like, man, I wish footsies existed again. Like, you don't want footsies, you want to win footsies. You don't want to actually fucking, like, do micro walks and shit like that to make sure that your pixel is slightly elongated while you kick. What you want to do is you want people to stop actually fucking comboing you. You want people to stop block pressuring you because you don't know what the fuck to do. Get good.
Yes. Bitch. Well, I don't know if I would necessarily take it turn it so offensive. But the thing is, neutral is something that is easier to comprehend on some level for most people, just in terms of, oh, my button was faster than his, or my button reached farther than his. But the truth is, they can understand that in theory. But when they see it, when it starts happening, when someone is beating them in neutral, it feels the same as when they're getting beaten in block pressure or getting big combo. Because they are just simply in the position of, I don't know why I just lost. And that is always what pisses off players who are of that mentality, is I don't know why I just lost.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, fighting games, like most fighting games that are designed to be competitive, have to be on some level designed to be complex. Because if the competitive game is, well, I mean, it's not even necessarily designed to be complex. A simple game will wind up involving complex psychology.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of things about fighting games that are complex, and it's not developer designed. It's just that people wind up adding mind games and stacking mind games on top of mind games. And at the end of the day, the way you win a fighting game most of the time is by putting too much bullshit on your opponent's mental stack for them to deal with so that they make a mistake. And the newer a player is, the less they're going to understand and the easier it is to overwhelm them. And there is nothing you can do to fix that while still keeping it a competitive game.
Yeah.
Because at Fantasy Strike, the fighting game that was designed from the ground up with the idea of let's make this shit as simple as possible, is still going to have, like, okay, there's no combos, you don't have to keep track of health meter percents, you don't have to do special move inputs.
You can't crouch. Just at all.
No matter what, that's true. No matter what, you're going to walk into Fantasy Strike as a new player, and you're going to get owned by players who have played the game before, because they're going to know what the characters are, who the characters are, what they do, what the ranges are. They're going to know the mind games. They're going to know that once you're ready, once you're used to this button and start blocking this button, you're going to be vulnerable to this button, yada, 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 and so on and so forth. It's a big part of the futility of deliberately simplifying competitive video game design for the sake of what you believe is helping newcomers. That is not to say that simplifying a fighting game is necessarily a bad thing, but if you're doing it just to try and make it so that people have an easier time onboarding, there has to come other questions in terms of what helps with the onboarding process. And at the end of the day, the simplified fighting games that play the best generally are not the ones that were designed for someone who is scared of the game and wants it simplified just so they can understand it better. Usually the simplified fighting games that are fun are simplified in a fun way because they kind of expected that players would just take a simplified fighting game and also make it complex.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's been a while since we've had that talk, actually, come to think of it.
Yeah.
If there's anything to observe from fighting game content channels, it's that fighting game dialogue
moves in circles,
always boils down to the same selection of about a dozen topics. There are eternal fights that will never end, and sometimes it's because people are just stubborn and refuse to let go of their opinions. But there's a lot of times where these dialogues will never end, not because of stubbornness, but because there are always new people coming in, and there are certain mistakes that you make when you're new to things and you are not schooled to them. And new people just always make mistakes, and then they have to learn and become veterans. And by the time they become veterans, now they have to deal with the stupid questions asked by new people.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in it. We all make these mistakes at some point, and then we move on. That is life. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Kyo Kusanagi is a woman.
All right. Good for her. I'm proud of her for coming out.
There are an incredible amount of not too terrible edits on this KOF collection for Ikemen that are just this KOF character, but now they're a woman.
Makes people delighted.
I had heard that the femme gurnets from the early 2000s started a trend, but I didn't know it was this strong.
Yeah.
All right, anyways.
Yeah.
What the hell got us started on that simplification thing?
Two strikes.
Oh, Baki the Grappler plus Bushido Blade. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? In regards to all this, like I also don't understand people's comprehension of neutral skips, because, like, you know, it's one of those things where, like, neutral skips is a part of neutral. You counter and then you go back to neutral. Like,
yeah, it is a question of how strong a neutral skip is. Because, I mean, fucking Solar Plexus Punch for Ryu is a neutral skip in some perspective, depending on the game. But it's been fun with messing with Ikemen, going back and saying, Man, Solar Plexus Punch used to be a much stronger button for Ryu in some of these old games.
Yeah, I mean, like, I haven't even seen people talk about like Solar Plexus Punch as a neutral skip because
Oh god, it's irrelevant now.
yeah, because people are like drive rush canceling, fucking I don't know, like any air movement, fucking any move that you do that you do when I'm not hitting you, it's a neutral skip, y'all.
Yeah. I mean, it's the dialogue really started on Street Fighter 6 with Dragon Lash. And Dragon Lash, I do think it's more than fair to call Dragon Lash a neutral skip. I don't think that it's a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. Kin is the rushdown Shoto. It's kind of his thing. But that, I think, is valid to say as a neutral skip, because that's the point of the button. Dragon Lash is the, I think you're going to try and keep me out with very deliberate neutral buttons, so I'm going to hit Dragon Lash to catch you, and so I can get in and I can start rushing you down and mixing you up.
Yeah.
It's part of the character design that he does that, and it's part of Ryu's character design that he doesn't do that. If Ryu wants to do that, he's got to do like crouching medium kick, drive rush, Hasho Geki or something. But as always, all the characters in this game are unfair except mine.
Yeah.
And it's always delightful looking at social media after, in the week or two after Evo, because it then leads to nonsense of like people who are hopping on Guilty or social media and going, yo, Johnny's OP, nerf him. And it's, of course, like, well, what do we see the rest of Top 8 made out of?
Yeah.
Or like the Tekken. I saw a rather unpleasant quantity of people going, Nina is fine. She's good, but she's actually a little bit weak. I don't know if you noticed this, but she's a little bit weak. We need to do something about Brian Fury taunt jet upper.
Okay.
I apparently one of the big Tekken fighting game pros is a Nina main who hates Brian, and he was somehow trying to hijack post-Evo discussion into Nina is fine, we need to nerf Brian. And he has a rather sizable fan base who naturally did what any fan base does generally, and they just start repeating what he said, which I'm certainly guilty of myself here. I've already quoted both Maximilian Dude and Sajam today. But nonetheless, that led to much behumoring, because I didn't watch the Tekken 8 Top 8, but I've heard about it from you and from others, and I've seen a certain degree of it, which is very Williams-focused.
Yep.
You see, every Nina main that makes it to Top 8 does it out of skill.
Yes.
The problem isn't the Nina mains. The problem is everyone else that made it to Top 8.
I really want one of these days. They won't do it ever, but I think it would be really fucking cool. It would be really funny if on like April 1st, Street Fighter 6 got an update, and they just made Akuma into Rare Akuma for that one day. They reverted the change yesterday or the next day, like immediately.
It takes so much work.
Yeah. But like, you know, because people complain about all of
copyright violations.
I mean, Rare Akuma, the old version didn't have the copyrighted stuff.
Okay.
Like, the Rare Akuma that I grew up playing didn't have the super that sends you to the moon, or the music during the Raging Demon, or the Katamari super, or anything like that.
My personal favorite so far, Rare Akuma seems to have a lot of bullshit going on that we've not even seen yet, because it seems some of it stuff is just random what you see.
Yeah.
My favorite that we saw yesterday was Rare Akuma Raging Demon that causes the opponent to act out the ending of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, that one's new. Well, that one's new to me.
Okay, I was wondering that because I was laughing my ass off, but you weren't having as much a reaction. I was like, oh, he must have seen this before.
Oh no, I have, because the version. So there's a version of Rare Akuma that I played fucking 15 years ago which is the rare Kuma in my mind. He doesn't have any of the like operated stuff, or he doesn't have the turn off the lights bullshit. He just had the lightning, and like most of the moves are still the same. He just doesn't have the Katamari Super or the operated stuff that got added to his moves.
Yeah.
And then there's the current version, which I think the current version was updated last updated in 2007. But the current version.
Rare Akuma, correct me if I'm wrong, is one of those characters that became a thing at a point in the moving community for everyone to make their spin on Rare Akuma.
Yes.
So there's probably like fucking 30 Rare Akuma variants out there in the wild, and 30 more that have been lost to time.
Yeah, but I believe that this is the version that we have right now, the one with the cooperative stuff, is still made by the OG guy. Like, this is the last version that they made. So, like on one hand, this is the final version of the same guy that I played. On the other hand, it still doesn't feel exactly the same as that guy, because the moves are the same. He feels the same to control, but he didn't have this much fucking bullshit. Like the most referential that Rare Akuma got back when I played him was the windscreen that you left that really hard where he runs away, and then a lot of people run after him, and then they start running, and he comes back with mini-me's.
Chasing after him with the baby Akumas.
Yeah, like that was as referential as Rare Akuma got back in my day.
Oh shit.
But yeah, like I don't know, like just because in my mind, for one, there's precedent for Akuma to do this because there's the whole Mugen fucking legacy of Rare Akuma. But also, like, he's the reason I singled him out is just simply because Akuma is usually the most complained about character in any fighting game that he appears in, aside from like Marvel fucking Children of the Atom.
Oh god, look, he's rough in a lot of the Street Fighters. What did you say in Street Fighter 5 he was more complained about than Abigail?
I'm not sure. I didn't really follow Street Fighter 5 closely enough to know.
Because Street Fighter 5, Abigail's a monster, but Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 6, yeah, it's Akuma in both of those games.
Yeah, and it's also
JP is like trailing him, but JP has since been paced.
Yeah, and then Street Fighter 3, it's in Street Fighter 3 somehow, some way, I don't know how, but when I see people complain about characters, it's usually Akuma. Which, like, yes, Chun and Yun are right there, and they are higher tier than Akuma, but I guess he's just too annoying.
I think it's because Chun and Yun both are still associated as honest button characters.
Yeah.
Even for what makes them strong. Akuma's, correct me if I'm wrong, Akuma's in the sphere like with Ken and Urien in 3, where he's not the tippity toppest tier, but he's still considered very good and very competitively viable, right?
I think so.
Okay, because most of the competitive Urien crazy combos I've seen, it tends to be Akuma on the receiving end for some reason. I assume because since he's got the lowest health, he's going to be on the receiving end of the most of the killing combos.
Yeah. And then let's see, in Alpha, I forget who's the most complained about in the Alpha series.
Oh god, at one point Dan was tippity top in Alpha, which is bizarre that it's happened with Dan every time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because in Alpha, Dan is super top tier. Okay, we nerf him into the ground. Okay, now he's the lowest tier. Street Fighter 4, Dan is top tier. Okay, nerf him into the ground. He's the bottom tier. Street Fighter 5, Dan has a infinite loop that can 100% any character. Okay, nerf him.
See, the problem with Alpha, at least with Alpha 3, is that like there's so many characters that like I don't really hear people complain about characters in general. Like I've heard, like I've been playing the Alpha for fucking 12 years at least, probably more, and genuinely I think I heard my first character complaint like last week in regards to Alpha. Because I saw this tournament, and two of the players in the tournament were also the commentators. It needs to be said.
Nice.
One of the commentators was a Zangief main, and the other commentator made a joke about how Zangief is top tier in Alpha, which apparently he genuinely is pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, so he made a joke about Zangief being top tier, and then the guy deflected by saying that Akuma is stronger because he faced an Akuma earlier or something like that. So like, yeah?
Akuma Geef has a tendency to be the mythological Tin matchup.
Yeah.
It's either Akuma uses the huge tool set he has to just be a nightmare that Zangief can't touch, or Zangief touches Akuma once.
Yes. Like I love, like, you know, people don't like this archetype because they're cowards or something. I don't know. I love glass cannon characters.
Oh yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, I was
thinking about that the other day with the Street Fighter 6. How back in the day I was scouting Street Fighter 6 the beta and came back telling you, oh, okay, Jamie's your character because Jamie's the most fun rushdown character. And it came back, no, really, no. That I chose, in fact, one of the characters you like the least on the Street Fighter 6 roster. I was thinking on that the other day and going, okay, my mistake was just going, oh, Addy likes rushdown characters. No, I thought to myself, no, that's not correct. Addy likes the characters that have all of the tools, and then he uses that character to rush people down. But he doesn't want a character who pigeonholes him into being rushed down.
Yeah. That is correct. Yes, like I like characters who are jacks of all trades. I don't need them to be masters of anything. I just need to be able to have answers.
Yes.
And I think that you can kind of see that with most of the characters that I play, because, like, you know, what are my mains? It's fucking Akuma, Johnny. I don't know. Galen, would Galen count as a jack of all trades character? He doesn't really have projectiles, but then he is the projectile.
From Smash?
Who?
Ganon from Smash?
No, not Ganon.
Ganon. Okay.
Yeah.
John Talbane. Okay. Yeah, Talbane's a rushdown character, but he has great movement. So any situation you'd be in where you would ordinarily, like any situation like if Akuma ran in, Akuma would say, okay, I can't get in right now. I need to start throwing Hados. Talbane just goes, okay, I'm going to jump up and I'm going to dive down, or I'm going to dive up and I'm going to fall down, and I'm going to nunchucks or whatever. You know?
Yeah. Like stuff like that. Like I think it really comes down to, like, I like it's really funny because I do really like Alpha, and Alpha has, like, you know, Street Fighter 2 movement, but I'm fine with that because characters usually have something that gives them movement, or otherwise,
also
like
fast walk speed.
Yeah, that too. I think it's really funny. You will notice I barely, if ever, use dash in Street Fighter 6 because the walk speed is so fast I don't need to.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I think the only...
I'm a compulsive dasher in most games that offer it.
Yeah, I just don't like dashes in general for some reason. I don't know why. So, like...
Oh, I love a good dash.
I like runs. I like doing the dash input once and then getting places and then getting speed. Getting velocity. But...
Yeah, this goes back to Guilty Gear again. Okay, Guilty Gear. Most of the character roster is made up of characters who run instead of dash. Except my boy Slayer.
Yeah.
He dashes.
And your boy Potemkin.
Potemkin who doesn't do anything at all.
Yeah. But yeah, so... What was I gonna say? Fuck. Yeah, like, I like mobile characters. I like characters who can go places. I like... I like being able to fucking just choose where the fight is taking place. Usually the way to choose where the fight is taking place is through rushdown, but, like, you know, I used to play Zoner somewhat. I feel like because whenever we have a bad connection, or whatchamacallit, I don't know what else it really relates to, but, like, usually, at least in the older games, like when we played SF4 or Grostaken, like, I feel like you actually saw the loop that I used to do to zone people out.
I think so, yeah. There's definitely been plenty of times where you played Akuma and you just decide you're going to zone me out. Which, Oh, sorry. The cat's being very needy right now for my attention, so I'm having to also like scratch her back and scratch her neck, which is causing, of course, loads of hair to be kicked up off of her into my mouth. Yeah. But it seems to me like whenever I get to a point where I'm like zoning you out pretty hard in a fighting game, I tend to ease off. What a question I would have to ask you is, it's a relevant thing with any fighting game character choice. Part of the question is not just what do I want to do. Part of the question is also what are the situations I could get into on another character that I don't want to. Because there are drawbacks inherent to a character that are going to put you in situations that are bad. Yeah. And the question is, do you want to soldier through that? Is that something you're fine dealing with? Or is that something that you say, no, I don't enjoy that. That harms my enjoyment of the game, so I don't want to have to deal with it. Yeah. Because there are a lot of people that are going to not pick zoners because they don't want to ever be in the position of, I'm getting rushed down and I have no way to get out of this. I'm being rushed down, and even if I block, the overwhelming majority of my tools will not be effective here because they expect my opponent to be half the screen away and not right up next to me. So my moveset is effectively cut down to a fraction. A lot of people are going to say, no, don't want that, so they don't play zoners. And that's also comparatively why there are certain zoners that do extremely well and become extremely popular because they have tools that are specifically designed for that situation. Looking at you, JP.
Yeah.
Grapplers tend to be, though certainly not always the case. All right, Keycat, I'm going to have to move you to the bed. You're getting too much hair in my mouth. Sorry. Ooh, all right, there we go. Grapplers, so most of the time, but not always, and certain varieties of rushdown character will have the kind of opposite situation where they're getting zoned at the far end of the screen, or they're getting poked out in neutral, and they're kind of stuck like, well, pretty well none of my tools work in this situation. I just have to walk forward and block.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of players that are going to say, fuck that, I don't want to play that. God, especially in like Marvel 3, like fucking Hagar, right? God, there are so many zoners you have to run up against as Hagar in Marvel 3 that's just walk forward and block. And it's like, fuck you, it's Marvel. Who walks forward and blocks in this game?
Yeah.
But for Hagar, he has to do that. And he's not a bad character. He's a rare, good grappler in Marvel that isn't just good because he has a regular, normal throw, like Nova or Magneto. Hang on. Oh, one of them got real deep back to the throat. Yeah. Hope that wasn't a butt hair. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. So, with all that said, I would surmise from my years playing against you that part of what you look for in a fighting game character is that you don't want to ever be stuck in a position where you feel like you're helpless or you've just lost access to most of your moveset and you're just stuck doing this one thing to get out of it, the situation you're in.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I remember it was I remember that was the only time I've had a character in a fighting game. Well, no. Kanji was kind of a trouble at some point in Persona, but I think Soon was more pissed about Kanji than you were. But I remember when we played Street Fighter 5, at a certain point, it was like, I just can't. You never banned Abigail because you are a good sport. But there came a certain point where I had to say to myself, I can't play Abigail anymore. Because I can hear Addy over there getting mad at me poking him out and hitting him with big moves and being able to mix him up from half the screen away. And I don't entirely blame him for getting mad because that's Abigail. Abigail's bullshit. But I have to stop playing Abigail because I'm just not fun to play against as Abigail. And that's always an interesting thing, how these situations work out in fighting games. And you do have some characters that, I'm going to be honest, I enjoy playing Abigail. He's not very well designed.
Yeah.
A Street Fighter character should not be able to do that. I mean, JP can mix you up from halfway across the screen, but he generally doesn't get a big combo off of a random mix-up.
Yeah. I mean, it also goes both ways, because, like, I for most of the time that we played Street Fighter 5, I didn't play Akuma because I figured, well, I play Akuma everywhere, every time. So,
and Street Fighter 5 Akuma isn't even the really good Akuma.
Yeah, no, that's also true. But I mean, like, every time I did go with Akuma, every time I did go with Akuma, it got to the point where I would get close to double perfecting you. Let's not talk about the time that let's not talk about the times that Goku joined us. So.
Oh yeah.
So to me it just made sense. Play literally anyone else on the roster.
Yeah. Street Fighter 5 Akuma, it's worth noting. Any other Street Fighter that has Akuma, except Street Fighter 2, I'm not going to play Akuma in Street Fighter 2 because fuck that character select. But any other Street Fighter game that features Akuma, I'm like, yeah, I like Akuma. I'll pop in a little bit of Akuma. I won't do it too much because then it would just be Akuma mania between me and Addy. But yeah, I like Akuma. Street Fighter 5, I was like, yeah, Addy can have him. I don't care. He felt wrong in that game.
Yes, very much so.
And he's caught between two games where Akuma feels like gold.
Yeah. Like
Street Fighter 4,
yeah.
Street Fighter 4 Akuma is the Vortex monster. Everyone knows it. He's the reason that Vortexes weren't a thing afterwards. Street Fighter 6 Akuma, oh, he's just got everything. I see.
Yeah, I do still miss the options out of Air Zanku that he used to have. Just because, I'm an OG, so...
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, like, I wouldn't say that he's really, whatchamacallit, like, I wouldn't say that he's really missing those tools. I miss them personally because it was a part of my game plan, because I play the character everywhere that he appears, so...
Oh, yeah. We have all had that at some point where one character we got used to got gimped in the next game in some way that we couldn't handle, even though the character was otherwise still viable. But it's like, I really miss this tool.
Yeah. And so, like, on one hand, I do miss that sometimes, and when I played a lot of, like, Third Strike or 4 or whatever, and I get used to having back jump Zanku again, which, by the way, it needs to be said, back jump Zanku was balanced, like, after 2, where he was not meant to be played by people.
Man, I was playing Ikemen earlier, and I was playing some character, some Kim Kafan knockoff, or actually, I think it was Jaehun. So, Kim Kafan knockoff, and I was doing back jump dive kick, and I was like, was it really that OP? Did we really have to get rid of back jump dive kick?
Not really. It depends. It really depends, because if it's, I would argue, if it's back jump dive kick like Jury's is in 6, where you get a combo off of it, sure, I can see why you would not want that. I mean, the combo that you get off of it isn't, like, great, because it's just back jump dive kick EX, which launches into EX Shoryu, but, still, it's a combo, so technically I can see why you would not want that. But otherwise, like, back jump dive kick was just whatchamacallit, it was a zoning tool. Like, back jump dive kick, back jump Zanku, stuff like that, usually were zoning tools, and if they were overtuned, which they could be very easily, then I think you could also just, like, change recovery or change damage and make it work.
Yeah. To me, like, the point of the dive kick is largely just for catching people who are assuming the way that the trajectory of your jump is going to work.
Yeah. Also, they actually buffed forward jump dive kick, or at least demon flip dive kick for Akuma. It didn't used to have 3 angles. But now it does.
I wasn't aware that he's now absorbed part of Dalsim's soul.
At least from what I remember now because they don't have because Demon Flip used to have 2 tools out of it. Then it went up to 4, and now we're back to 2, but it's different tools. Because it used to have before the dive kick, Akuma would do like the Jin Kazama fucking, like, body attack, the senton out of Demon Flip in Alpha.
Oh god, I remember that. Yeah, the Akuma scissors kick. That was such a weird move. It didn't fit his aesthetic at all. It
literally uses uses his down sprite.
Yes, I remember this. It looked derpy. And like I remember looking at it and going like, okay, this makes sense for a character who will go all or nothing. I don't care if I get hurt doing this move. Akuma is not that type. Akuma is not the I'm going to just fling myself at you kind of guy.
Yeah.
He is a lot more like there's a lot more discipline and grace to Akuma. Whereas just going, I'm gonna fucking fall on you and it's gonna hurt is very graceless.
Yeah. Like I feel like that's a move that would have worked fine with like Oni, you know?
Yeah, even then though, like Oni is like, I've just lost all martial arts technique and I'm just going to project energy at you.
Yeah. So yeah, like he used to have that, and he used to have the little punch, if memory serves, at the start out of it. You know, the air-to-air punch that no one ever used because it fucking sucked dick, but they get around for some reason.
Yeah, hypothetically, it's good if someone tries to counter your the demon flip by jumping up at you, but like, who's doing that?
Yeah. So that. Then he had, I believe, he got dive kick, and it was the three of those. Then he got a different kick out of it. But it might have been Tekken exclusive, I forget. It's been a while since I really fucked around with demon flip stuff that wasn't, you know, dive kick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he used to have some other move out of it that wasn't dive kick, if memory serves. It might have been cancel. I feel like I remember there being a game where he just lands on his feet normally to fuck with you.
Oh god, there might have been at some point. Well, of course now in Tekken, excuse me, in Street Fighter 6 he has that, which is how he's able to do demon flip throw.
But yeah, so that, and then yeah, that's it. And then with Tekken and now Street Fighter 6, he has the diving punch to mix you up if you expected the dive kick to happen. But then the dive kick also has, because we've taken out the punch and we've taken out the other stuff that wasn't the cancel, I think. He can angle his demon flip like 2 or 3 ways in 6.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Lucy, the starter guide came out.
Okay, I have only seen her quick hack menu and that she has an instant kill.
I looked at the entire guide. Technically she has an instant kill, but the instant kill happens regardless of what you want if you have the mirror and they are nearly dead. So that's 1.
Yes.
And for 2, Lucy, the major things. Lucy has a Shoryuken that doesn't travel upwards, which is whatever that happens. They explicitly said you cannot roam and cancel this move.
Oh god, I feel like there are a couple moves that behave that way. I believe, though I could be wrong. Oh no, okay. I was about to say something incorrect. I was about to say I think that Potemkin doesn't have Roman cancel Heat Knuckle. But I believe he does, it just gets really finicky. And it's really awkward because it's basically the way of doing Heat Knuckle without the extend in Strive. Because in X2 and Exard, there was Heat Knuckle and then there was Heat Knuckle Extend. And X2, Accent Core, whatever, Heat Knuckle and Heat Knuckle Extend were both viable. They were both good for different purposes. But Classic X2 and Strive, and Exard both, Heat Knuckle Extend was more or less just straight up bad on some level for some reason. I forget what. Regular Heat Knuckle. No, actually it was the opposite. Regular Heat Knuckle was garbage. There was no reason not to extend. And Strive, I want to say, well, Strive, of course, just took all that out by making it where it always extends by default. So you have to Roman cancel it for regular Heat Knuckle. You know, I had a point I was trying to get around to there, but I forgot it somewhere in my confused explanation. So proceed.
You know, I feel like it's like I feel like no, 6 words.
Is it happening?
Yeah, I don't know. I was counting. So, like, I think those 6.
What did you say?
I think those 6 words really exemplify all of the things that the old heads dislike about Strive. You cannot Roman cancel this move.
God, I'm sure I've seen at least one other move in Strive that's like that. I'm sure this can't be the first one ever. But yeah, that's pretty rare and pretty odd. I mean, if there was one character that they did say, like, this character doesn't work like a Guilty Gear character, I think everybody would be fine with it being the Bizarro guest character, because what the fuck, why is there a guest character at all?
Yeah.
Considering that she is here.
But yeah, like, you know, I saw that and I went like, you know, what comes after disappointment? Like,
there was no way that this could have been a happy answer. There is no world in which we're adding a cyberpunk character to Guilty Gear could possibly start as bad news and then turn good, at least for someone who has very understandably gotten very sick of the fucking relentless glazing that CDPR has received for the last 15 years.
Yeah, I mean,
unless, of course, there is actually one potential I'm cutting out here. There is one way things could have worked out. If they did the reveal trailer for Lucy, and then midway through she just starts seizing and she just starts having horrible seizures on the ground, and then her, like, the chest burster from Alien, right? Except instead of an alien, it's Zappa.
See, I was gonna say instead of an alien, it's Dancer. For some reason, that's funnier to me.
I feel like that violates Answer as a character, and then somewhat ruins his appeal. Yeah. The fun of Answer is that even though he's a ninja, he's otherwise a very mundane person.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so funny to me that he just comes out of Lucy's stomach. Fuck.
What they would have to do with Answer would be something different. If they're going to do it with Answer, have Lucy do her trailer like usual, and then a tongue comes in from off screen, wraps around her waist, and pulls her off screen. She gets eaten by Answer's frog, and Answer looks over and goes, "Oh shit."
I mean, if they brought back Answer, I think that the way they could make him more interesting for people, which they wouldn't do because they don't do interesting anymore. No, but seriously though, a way that they could make him more interesting to people who are not me, I think, could be to give him a money gimmick, like they did with Motochika in Bazaar Cross. But instead of buying mechs, which, by the way, yes, that's a thing that he can do apparently. I fought him fought against the CPU and he did that. Instead of that, he's just like, I don't know, he's whatever Chip's country is. I forget what they called the country that they established. But
it's not America?
No, Chip established a country in Africa.
Oh, he made a new one. Okay, yeah. I forgot about that.
That's the country he's president of. Like, it's funny to say that he's the president of America, but I don't think that's correct.
Oh, I really want him to be president of America. Which admittedly would create too many problems with good old Gold Lewis there, because Gold Lewis is like, is Gold Lewis going to beat up his boss? Well, then again, I guess Answer beat up his boss all the time, so and Exar, so who gives a shit? But yeah, in fairness, if Chip was my boss, I'd also beat him up a lot. Kind of a jackass.
But yeah, like say that Answer is the treasurer of whatever country that Chip established, and then he has a money system.
Broke.
What?
And they're broke.
Yeah, they're beating money out of people, and then the more money Answer has, the harder he hits. And then all of his ring quotes are about like donations.
Just begging your opponent for donations.
No, thanking them for the donation. Like they already mugged them. And they already mugged the people.
Okay. He's just jumping people, I guess.
Yeah. Including the president.
Oh, which I feel like that raises too many questions of like, I would think like a good chunk of the Guilty Gear cast shouldn't have much money to throw around. I don't.
Yeah.
Who would trust Chip with money?
Enter Soul is a 0-10 matchup because Soul doesn't have cash.
Yeah. You try to do the money thief moves on Sin, but meat just comes out of his pockets.
Yeah. You know, I figured it wasn't specific moves that steal money. It would be every hit gives you a little bit of cash.
You do it to Axel, but it's like, oh, pounds. These are worthless.
Like I imagine you do a combo, and instead of a combo counter and the thing telling you how much damage you did, it's telling you how much money you made. So yeah. They also chose the wrong character from Cyberpunk to cross over with to cross over with. Yeah, that's the term, I guess. I tried to restart the sequence to figure out a better term, but no, there aren't any.
Shit ain't happening.
Anyway, yeah, the character that they should have put into Strive is the shrimp lady.
The shrimp lady. Okay,
Yeah.
This is news to me. Who's this?
There's a vendor in Cyberpunk, in the market, obviously, in this like blue outfit, and a straw hat. She's just called the Shrimp Lady, I think, in game, and she tells you about like shrimp. She tries to sell you shrimp in the game, but if you try to actually like bother with her, then she doesn't sell shrimp at all.
Okay.
And then also you can't kill her.
Oh, nice.
Like I've seen that woman get blown up and then still stand there like Sephiroth in the stall.
Is this some kind of Bloodborne character?
Maybe. But yeah, I think one time, because the last time I saw her was still like before the 2.0 patch or whatever the fuck they did. So she might be mortal now. I'm not sure, but the last time I saw,
I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, last time I saw her, the guy who was playing the game managed to kill her, quote unquote, as in he could grab her body and she could be carried, but she was still stalking and looking at him.
Oh, nice.
And so what the guy did is, you know how you can carry around corpses on your shoulder while you do other stuff?
I don't do that. I wasn't aware you could do that. No.
Well, it is, or at least was a feature that you could do. So what he did was he put the shrimp lady in the boot of the car, because you can do that with corpses, I think. And then when they did the final mission with the shrimp lady around,
and she was still talking?
Yeah.
Oh, delightful.
Like it was just,
I enjoy this.
Like she became a character because like she was dead, so she couldn't move. So she just stood wherever they put her down. But she could also still talk. and like she still behaved like she was alive otherwise.
And was still talking about shrimp.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I like that. More of this, garçon.
Yeah. Like there was no other parts of Cyberpunk where I went, hey, that game seems cool. But then I saw the shrimp lady and I went, okay, there's one good thing about this game.
Yeah.
So they really missed the mark with going with the character that people would know instead of the shrimp lady.
It would have been a little bit of a trip, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Guilty Gear Strive is crossing over with Grand Theft Auto. we're bringing in man with shirt.
Yeah.
The next hottest fighting game on the market, Super Pedestrian Fighter.
We're bringing in OG Loke.
All right, next up, we got to get in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. The civilians going.
No, the luthier. The luthier.
The who?
The people who play the loot.
The guys that you beat up, right?
Yeah. If memory serves in the multiplayer, which I didn't play, so I only saw like images and shit. But I think I remember seeing. Okay, so you can confirm or deny. But I feel like I remember there being a class who was those guys, and then they could pull the fucking loot apart to stab people with.
Oh god, that might have been DLC. I never picked up the DLC characters. That does sound familiar, though.
Because yeah, like they could just use that as the base for the fighting style.
That would be pretty good.
Like the loot player can play the loot for buffs on themselves or debuffs on the enemy, and then also take the loot apart at the neck and then just stab people with it.
But he gets easily distracted by money.
Yes. Finally, Answer has an 0-10 matchup in his favor.
Yeah. But he has to lose money to do it.
True.
Everybody loses.
And
that's the true spirit of fighting games.
Yes. Then, Invincible Versus, the people behind it said that they want somewhere between 15 and 20 characters for the launch roster.
Yeah, that game does look low budget.
Yep.
They got really unlucky with the announcements that came out around the same time.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they'll do, though, because there's not any other Invincible games coming out right now, right?
I don't believe there are any.
Well, I'm curious if the Invincible fan base, as crazy as it is, can carry them to anything, or if it's just going to be kind of a meh. Because for the current moment, like, Tokon's eating their lunch.
Yeah.
And you can go like, well, yes, the game's not very pretty looking and the roster's going to be small, but it could still hit something with a competitive fan base. And it's going to be like, well, how many of the competitive fan base that are like waiting on the savior of fighting games are still going like, yo, 2XKO though?
Yeah. No, you don't get it. Like I saw a video. I think Justin uploaded his edit of the VODs, but Evo ran a thing where they had like casuals basically between tournament players in a separate room, and then it would be like, all right, play your main game. Okay, now go play go play fucking Project L. And like it made like I think this was supposed to be advertising Project L, but genuinely, I shit you not, I saw the game, like I saw the games go from whatever to XKO, and I went, wow, 2XKO looks like shit.
Yeah.
Like it's genuinely just, from the how the hits looked and shit, it really just looked like Tokon, but with less animation budget. And like, okay, so why exactly would I want to play this? Why would I want to put money into this?
Well, at one point, Tokon wasn't a thing. And then Tokon was.
Yes.
And it was probably the worst thing that could happen to XKO. Because they went from having a somewhat of I would say, a captive audience, or rather, and that's not right, because at the end of the day, they can always stick with the games they're playing, but an audience that has not gotten a new game in a minute, to an audience that is now they're having all of the waffles and pancake plates shoved in front of them. And they're not going to go for the whole fiber, whole grain waffles with no syrup on them, no butter on them, no sugar on them, when they got the other plate of the blueberry waffles with all the sugar, all the syrup on it. They're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
I remain cautiously curious about 2XKO. I think that it will continue to be screwy because the development of that game has been screwy as hell. It will continue to be in the we have infinite budget and infinite time, and we are using it mode of the game doesn't release because we just are constantly iterating and iterating and iterating. And I think there's still a very strong chance that even if it does actually one day fucking release, they'll launch with a incredibly tiny roster and loads of costume MTX, and you have to sign up for Riot account bullshit. And so people that are already playing League will go like, yeah, I guess I'll try it. And the people that have been waiting on it to be the savior of fighting games will go, yeah, I'll try it. But the rest of people are just going to go like, no, I'm going to play Tokon or I'm going to play Marvel vs. Capcom 5.
Yeah. I'm going to play Carnal 3.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, I'm not really. I'm like, I never was the target audience for Project L, but you know, like I can look at Granblue. I'm not the target audience for Granblue either, and I can look at Granblue and I go, all right, Granblue is good for the people who like Granblue. But with Project L, it just really looks like to me, it really just looks like we have Tokon at home.
The real thing with 2XKO, I think more than anything, is that it tests a long-running theory for the people who have been of the stance that fighting games should be more popular than what they are, of people who have said, and there are people that you and I both enjoy who say this sort of thing all the time, that the reason fighting games are not more popular is because they don't have any major free-to-play, more multiplayer fighting games. There aren't any fighting games that you can get your friends to play for free that allow you to team up with your friends, because that's what they're going to say is what drives a lot of success of Fort League.
Yes, sure.
Fortnite or League of Legends, which is it's free and it's multiplayer, so you can get your friends to try the game for free and team up with them. Well, 2XKO, you can team with your friends because it allows 2v2 multiplayer, and it's going to be free to play. So this is the make or break testing moment for all those people who have said fighting games are less popular, not because of their design, but because of their monetization and because of their capability for social play between friends. So they're really waiting for this to be the slam dunk that proves, wait, we're not a niche genre. In short, I'm saying it's an important game for people who have an inferiority complex about these things and feel that Street Fighter should be as popular as COD. Never mind, even if the problem is that fighting games would be more successful if they're free to play and had more integrated multiplayer with friends, Street Fighter still wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I mean, like,
even if 2XKO is a smash massive success, the most you'll see from Street Fighter is a Street Fighter spin-off. It would be free to play and have multiplayer with friends.
Yeah. On the other end, we will get Tekken Revolution 2.
Probably. Notice I only mentioned Street Fighter.
Yeah. I mean,
Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Guilty Gear would all absolutely try and copy what 2XKO does if 2XKO wound up being a success.
Yeah. I mean, Tekken already has. Like, Tekken's already tried and failed.
Yes, but since when has that stopped crazy corporate dudes?
Oh no, I'm not talking about the corporate guys. I'm talking about the fans. You know?
Oh, well.
Like, we've already tried this. It came from inside the house. We've tried this, and it failed. Like, you know, the only thing that people can say is that, oh, well, it wouldn't have worked as well because it was only on PlayStation 3. But, like, dude, the game, like, Tekken Revolution was like the bridge between 6 and Tech 2. And I don't know, like, I've seen a lot of people talk about how they played Tekken Revolution. Like, I'm not sure that it being on the PlayStation 3 in an era where that was still, like, somewhat acceptable really made a dent there. Like, I think there's an argument to be made about the price of admission with fighting games, in that, you know, back when fighting games were in the golden age, back when arcades existed, you paid 25 cents or whatever, like, you know, half a dollar to, you know, play a match. And now it's $60 plus change if you're on console.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I think there's an argument to be made there. But I'm also not sure that that's really whatchamacallit. Like, I'm not sure that can be fixed by throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which is what Projectile is doing.
Yeah.
Like, I think there could be that's the problem though. Like, technically, I think there would be a market for, say, like, you know, a separate client of Street Fighter 6, say, where you download the client for free. It only has like either Battle Hub or Ranked, and then you pay a couple of bucks and you play a couple of matches. Like, you know, you pay $5 and you get like a 10-15 match pass, and then you play the matches there as a way to supplement or whatever, to replicate what the arcades did somewhat in a modern day. Like, I think that there could be a thing there, and you know, assuming that in this version of the game you get like everything unlocked by default because you're paying the arcade experience.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that could work, but fighting games will not go free to play because there's too much money on the table. And I don't know if you've looked at the games industry right now, but free-to-play games are not really a rarity. People aren't really like just vying for free-to-play games to play. In fact, it's the opposite problem, where the market is oversaturated and people are throwing money into pits to burn. So,
Yeah.
like, the only like if Tekken, not Tekken, fucking hell, if Capcom, that's the word I was trying to say there. If Capcom was like, all right, we're making like a spin-off of Street Fighter and it's free to play and whatever, like, that would cost, I don't know, with the current budgets, it would cost like, say, $500,000. Wait, no, it's $500 million,
Yeah,
baby.
I was about to say, holy shit, what a bargain.
Yeah. No, $500 million. And then, you know, they released it free to play. Yeah?
No, go ahead.
They released it free to play. Okay, maybe there's a big audience of people who can't afford to buy games that would join. Alright, how does Capcom, with the current visual fidelity, how does Capcom make costumes to sell to people? Like, this is a problem with Street Fighter 6 already, and there's a price of admission. How do you reckon that they can figure out a way to make it you know, financially viable to them while also not being predatory to the consumer, which people would argue that they already are in Street Fighter 6. Like, you know, it just seems like one of those things where, like, ironically enough, it strikes me as the same problem as people have, like, we're just talking about, like, economic models in general, where it's like, all right, here's this idealized version of what I want. I will not look at the actual, like, forces that would whatchamacallit, that would impact it and change it in ways that I could perhaps comprehend beforehand. I just want the ideas version, even though it can't exist. And, like, you know, it just
the
seems
possibility that I can fix everything is worth the risk that I break everything.
Yeah. Like, it just strikes me as people are fucking delusional about what would actually happen in cases such as these.
Inconceivable. Oh boy.
All right. Well then,
I guess we started with Invincible Versus, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's 15 to 20 characters. It's going to depend on character depth. But from the footage we saw, that looked like a 2 to 3 special moves per character team-based fighting game.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not the biggest team fighting game guy. I play a bit of Marvel, right?
Yeah.
But not a lot. Tokon is the first. I play a bit of Fighter Z. But Tokon is the first team fighter that I intend to go all in on and go, yo, this is my game. So I don't really know. I'm far from an expert. But it seems to me like 15 to 20 characters in a 3-character team fighting game, it seems like you burn through that roster fairly quickly.
Yes.
And tournaments might start to look pretty similar.
Yep.
And if this was not a competitively focused fighting game, I would say, well, it doesn't matter. But they brought in Double Helix in part off of the prestige of these are the guys that did KI 2013, which didn't sell mega blockbusters, but it is competitively respected. So it's rather strange to then see that there's this problem, right?
Yeah.
With that said, another question that comes in is character variety. And if this were just about any other fighting game, I would say 15 to 20 characters, you can get a good variety there. The issue is we have already seen a sizable chunk of Invincible versus roster. And it's a lot of fucking Viltrumites.
Yep.
So the question is, motherfuckers, have you already shown us all the Viltrumites? Or are we waiting on more? Because, I mean, it's already problematic enough. One of the Viltrumite characters they've shown us is just the fat back black bald dude, who to my understanding isn't really even a character. He's scene filler. Okay, well, we've got Omni-Man, we've got Invincible himself. We've got, what was her name? Tula, the chick with the old chick with the braid?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're not done yet, because also from the comics, there's the crazy muscular chick that rapes Invincible. They're not going to miss out on her, because people are crazy horny for her. Even though the comic makes it perfectly clear you're supposed to hate her, that doesn't stop the people are psychopaths and desperate for female attention. And we're also going to get, what's his name, Sovereign or whatever, the crazy badass Viltrumite Emperor dude that killed Battle Beast. We're in for at least 2 more Viltrumites, whether a launch roster or DLC.
And that's not counting other characters like Omni-Man Black and Super Saiyan got Super Saiyan Omni-Man.
You have to replace Omni-Man with Invincible there, I want to know.
Okay.
Because then it's accurate. Because Omni-Man, so far as I know, the only universal variant, multiversal variant you see of Omni-Man is one that got fucking owned by Invincible and his fucking skull splattered across the pavement. The Mr. 1000 variants is Invincible himself. Oh, I forgot one. Here's another important one. Conquest, the dude that everybody started memeing on as soon as this episode came out. Where he's all talking all sad to Invincible about, because I'm so good at killing people, no one will ever understand the beautiful soul that lies within me. Because they're probably not going to skip out on him either.
Yeah. And then, like, even with the characters, even with the characters who aren't Viltrumites, I feel like they dropped the ball. Like, I don't know any of these characters. I have no idea about this IP. I don't watch Invincible. I don't care about Invincible. But yeah, I looked at Battle Beast. Because people were like, yo, Battle Beast is here. So I looked at Battle Beast, and he's just a guy with a mace.
Yeah, he's a lion dude with a mace.
But, like, does he not do anything more interesting in the comics, at least? Or, like, the show or something? Because
plot-wise, he's interesting, because he's a dude that just shows up and just fucking wrecks Invincible super hard. And all of his buddies. And it's supposed to be a big shock, because to that point, like, Omni-Man seemed like he was the only guy that would be strong enough to do that. But no, Battle Beast just fucking owns everybody he steps up to. So he's cool in the comics for the same reason that, like, Future Trunks is cool, right?
Yeah.
Because Future Trunks, what makes Future Trunks cool other than the leather jacket and the sword? Which Battle Beast doesn't have a leather jacket or a sword, but he still has the fact that he's a lion man, which is cool, and he has the big mace, which is cool. But Future Trunks is cool because he just shows up and instantly owns Frieza. And so you're left reeling there as a viewer like, holy shit, someone can do that? That is Battle Beast. Battle Beast is the instant power level and power scale character.
I see. Because, yeah, like, the gameplay that they showed of Battle Beast was just like, here's literally any mace character that ever existed in a fighting game. Alright,
yeah,
cool.
He's not going to have a very interesting fighting style. The thing is, most of the characters in Invincible that have really weird power sets are not the top tier guys. Invincible is largely the Viltrumites are bad motherfuckers, and everyone with the more creative and interesting power sets more or less has to just try and run circles around them until either A, they can trick them into dying, or B, they can wait for a good Viltrumite to show up and help.
I see.
You got to keep in mind, Invincible is very much in the evil Superman sphere.
Invincible, from the sounds of it, Invincible is the Western One Punch Man.
Kind of, but like, the longer the series goes on, the more the non-Viltrumites do start to step up to the plate, but I don't think the cartoons really got there yet.
I see. That's also true of One Punch Man, from what I understand.
Yeah. The comics, they get there, but the cartoon, I think, at the most recent, like, the only non-Viltrumites you see kill a Viltrumite are Adam Eve, who we've already seen, Rexplosion, who had to kill himself to do it. Spoilers, everyone, sorry. And the Wolfman, who may or may not even be in the game at launch, because he's kind of a weird esoteric pick. Because there is just a werewolf in Invincible who is just a superhero that is a werewolf dude that does kung fu. He's honestly just John Talbane.
Yeah, I was about to say, that sounds like Ellen.
Yeah. His thing is, like, it was honestly the idea that Mr. Invincible Walking Dead writer Robert Kirkman had 20 years ago was, what if there was a fucking monk that also was a werewolf? So it's a kung fu werewolf. But because he's a monk and he's a master of self-discipline, he doesn't like have any of the usual werewolf downsides. He doesn't lose his mind or anything like that. He's fully in control of it, and also he knows kung fu. Kung fu werewolf.
Literally John Talbane.
Yes. And apparently being a werewolf who knows kung fu makes you a bad enough motherfucker to kill Superman.
All right, nice.
There you go.
So when is John Talbane going to get into the DC universe?
Oh, jeez.
When is Batman making John Talbane in the DC universe as a way to combat Superman?
Well, there's a good chance if they were having a DC, it would be the opposite, that John Talbane made Batman.
Yeah.
Learned all the secrets from the Tibetan monks. Oh, God, there has to be... Marvel has Werewolf by Night, but I can't remember a werewolf character in DC. Well, whatever.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, Invincible Versus, to me, is in this spot. But, like, I don't really care about the game. Like, all footage I see of the game, I'm just like, it looks like Marvel 3. So if they wanted to do Marvel 3, then good job. Like, it looks like low-budget Marvel 3, sure, but it's still, I can see Marvel 3 in there. But, like, I think of Invincible Versus, and the only thing that pops to my mind is, at least it's not Project L.
Yeah, I think there is that major difference there, because Invincible Versus almost has the underdog appeal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of like, the numbers are not adding up in this game's favor. Low budget, kind of poopy looking. The roster is going to be half of characters who just play the same. The numbers are not adding up for them. So I kind of want them to do well, because it's like, they almost got part of the spirit. Yeah. 2XKO comparatively has, for one thing, the ongoing thing of it's from Riot, and Riot do not make themselves lovable. And there is a desire to see Riot fail just in part as punishment for everything they've done in the past. But on top of that, there's, of course, the rather heavy element of, okay, but if 2XKO did really change the fighting game industry, would it change it into something you'd want to change into?
Yeah, and the answer is usually no. Like, at best, if Project L succeeds and people take notes of it, at best what we get is we get a gacha explosion with fighting game characters. Where it's just, here's 4-star Chun-Li for $30. She's only wearing a thong, nothing else.
Okay, and the downside is
$30.
you underestimate me. Pink's not here. Somebody has to pick up the slack.
Yeah. But yeah, like, people complain about DLC characters being pay to win and shit like that, and like, having to pay to train against characters. All right, motherfucker, how do you like the game when you have fucking Ryu, and they have to buy everyone else with real money, and at least they cost $40.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't get Ryu. Come on.
No, you would get Ryu because
you would get a.
I don't think you get a self-insert. I don't think you get a self-insert because, remember, we're talking about fighting games. I don't think they just go, alright, make John Street Fighter again.
No, what it would be a rotating selection.
I doubt that. Just based off of gacha. Like, I'm basing this off of how gachas are built, Like, what would... Actually, if we are basing this off of gacha, though, what would most likely happen is you would get one free pull, and whoever you get in that is what you get, and then pay up, pay pig.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to note here, just for the sake of sanity in the future, there's a shitload of Kyos here on this Ikemen pack, and I'll try and root through them. But at least one of these seems to not actually be Kyo. It seems to be an upward standing rocket launcher that is nonetheless named Kyo.
Ah.
Either that or it's Kyo with a rocket launcher. I don't know which possibility is more interesting, but I might grab him on accident somewhere in this nonsense, because there's like fucking 20 Kyos.
Kyo Kusanagi. And then the thing just shoots and it sounds like Bodega.
Oh,
and then I guess for the topic which I had saved during the weeks is there was an indie game showcase at Evo.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. Yeah,
we both watched it. And
seeing Combo Devils there, I was like, I feel like it was funny looking at it. I was like, it's this awkward position you can be in, torn between two friends, right? Of, okay, this is what Eddie's looking at and going, this is what I need to make Smash really good. And I know Pink's looking at it and going, this would ruin Smash.
I don't think that Pink's seen Combo Devil.
Oh, I don't think he has either. I doubt he clicked on that video. Pink's not much of a video clicker, but that seems to me like what Pink would go like, okay, so the point of Smash is that I don't have to do inputs,
Yeah. But yeah, I have been following Combo Devil since I think the second announcement. So
it looks good.
Yeah. It looks interesting at the very least. Like, I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm not sure. Like, I wouldn't say that it's good just yet, but
yeah,
it definitely looks promising.
Yeah,
and also like it, in a subgenre that is full of just Smash. Like, we're just Smash, y'all. It is interesting to go, okay, we're Smash, but we have a gimmick, and the gimmick is Guilty Gear, but it's still a gimmick.
Well, the Smash market also gets mixed up a lot. Similar with what we were talking about with the Tekken issue. Smash has a lot of games. The Smash and platform fighter genre has a lot of games that are just Smash but slightly different. Because, not just because people are like, whatever, I want Smash but slightly different, but also more importantly, because Smash is super locked to Nintendo.
Yeah.
And you can emulate it, but not everybody's cracking open an emulator. a lot of people want to just buy the game with the serial numbers filed off.
Yeah.
Which, until it got the workshop update, Rivals of Aether kind of just was that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was in a great big rush to play furry Smash Brothers until it was like, oh, also everybody's here.
Yeah. So yeah, I saved this in part because I remember there's a rising sentiment, because I saw a couple of discussions of like, people other than me are starting to miss air dashers, and I'm seeing more and more people post questions like, do you think that we could see another classic anime fighter, which is an air dasher? And the answer is usually like, no, go look at indies. So, because that's usually like in the current climate with video games, usually when you're like, I'm not being catered to by anyone in any sector, usually the answer is go look at indies or go look harder at indies. And like, I feel like it wasn't, but I feel like this video should have been a really good wake up call for those people who say that, because like, you look at this is a showcase of indie games that are currently in development, and of course it's not every indie game, but it's the large ones that people know about. And like 90% of the things showcased was, okay, yeah, we've removed 90% of the fighting game, but that 10% is still here. Which is a gross oversimplification of what actually is happening with those games. But, it's still just, we're simplifying the games.
I did notice that it was a lot of people saying, we're making a simpler fighting game for people who are scared to get in. And then it cuts to the Terrordrome guy who's just like, yeah, I like horror stuff.
Yeah.
Here's Frankenstein. He's not squeezing you with your ass cheeks because they won't let me work on Darkstalkers, but...
Yeah. Like, I feel like, I just feel like just go look at indies is a very like big cop-out answer, because indies can also just not serve you,
Yes, and beyond that, of course, there's just simply, okay, but I want to be served by a game that has a budget.
That too, yes.
I did, when I saw you post that video, I did wonder to myself, well, that's weird. Addy's not a big indie guy. Why is he posting this?
Oh no, actually, I'm pretty like, not every game, but I am generally have some sort of post on the indie scene. Like, I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Like, I'm not against indies specifically. I can look at indies and go, hey, this seems cool, I'll try it out or whatever. My problem with indie, well, for one, I generally don't like the indie darlings that happen. Like the games that get big through being an indie generally do not appeal to me for one reason or another. And so that's why you don't hear me talk about indies a lot. But otherwise, like, I do tend to keep some IR just so that, if I'm being served somewhere and it's up to a quality that I can I'm fine with, then I am being served at least somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I posted that in part because of this whole thing where, like, just go look at indies, and then the indies are like, all right, we're doing the same thing that Street Fighter 5 and Guilty Gear Strive did, but we're doing it more. Like, okay, cool, I looked at indies, now what?
Yeah.
And also, like, I think there's a difference in understanding of how these games work, because people go, well, oh, you can still do big combo in like Fighter Z or whatever, and like, sure, technically you can still do that, but what makes air dashers feel good to the people who like air dashers, at least in my case, it's not just big combo, it's a big effort for big combo, it's high execution for big combo. I don't want no execution for big combo. I don't want fucking high execution for no combo. I want both.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's what's the proper phrase for it? That's one of those things where the counter bit of logic did not spread fast enough, right? Which is just simply yes, but Justin Wong is like the biggest Evo winner in history, and he's awful at combos.
Yeah.
The myth spread like wildfire that in order to be good at fighting games, you have to be a combo god, and it just got out of control.
Yeah. And like I think it in part comes down to game feel, because to me, like, you know, this is very subjective. But to me, pressing a button to then see the character do a combo is not satisfying, because I'm not doing the combo. The character is doing the combo, but I'm not. You know.
You know what's the bigger thing?
Yeah.
Even than myth spreading. The big thing that causes problems for fighting games and fighting game dialogue is fighting games are overwhelmingly haunted by 08.
What happened in 08?
Street Fighter 4.
No, that was 09.
Oh, yeah, 09ers. Okay, never mind. Oh, it came out in arcades in 08. Okay, that's why I was thinking Street Fighter 4 is coming out in 2008. But either which way, a lot of fighting game dialogue is haunted by the ghosts of 09ers. Because it was a lot more reasonable to say that combos were a fucking nightmare to do if Street Fighter 4 was the only fighting game you played.
Yes.
Because Street Fighter 4 combos were a nightmare. Street Fighter 4 is like the fucking hardest game to do combos in.
Not only that, but I thought about actually learning how to do combo in Street Fighter 4 with Akuma, and I looked at a combo list on fucking Super Combo, I think, I forget. But I looked at the combo list for Akuma, and it was just like, do this punch and then this sequence, do this punch and then this sequence, do this kick and then this sequence. Like, wow, very, very large combo variety we got here.
Oh, yes, absolutely, because it's still going to be refined down to the meta. You're not going to find any fighting game that got refined down to its meta more than Street Fighter 4, because that was the game where competitive fighting gaming went from being a cute little thing that you'd every now and then see to a industry-defining thing.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4 in fighting game history on some level can be divided up into 3 stages. Pre-Street Fighter 3, the period between Street Fighter 3 and Street Fighter 4, post Street Fighter 4. And don't get me wrong, I am sure there are a lot of combos that are very satisfying with Street Fighter 4. I can't lie. I've been able to, on very rare occasions, do some neat loops with Evil Ryu stomps or with Hugo claps. But it's very rare. And doesn't feel consistent enough for me to really consider it anything important. And whenever I see people play competitive Street Fighter 4, there are a few linking gods. Daigo springs to mind.
Yeah.
But the majority of the Street Fighter 4 pros were not doing crazy link combos. And at the end of the day, the basic stuff you want to do in Street Fighter 4, the basic combos you want to do in Street Fighter 4, took so much more work than what any other fighting game in its time, let alone before or after, required you to do.
Yeah. But also, like, for me, I just find it ridiculous because, so, Akuma has this default combo. I don't know if anyone else had it. I think they gave it to Ken in City of the Wolves, but that's about it. But Akuma's basic combo in any game is crouching middle kick into light tatsu into shoryu. That's just the default.
Yeah, that's the classic Akuma combo, which I think they did give it to Ken in one of the games. What the fuck?
Yeah,
because that's the Akuma combo in my brain that like only he can do and no one else. Wait, did you say medium tatsu?
No, light.
Okay. I thought you said medium tatsu. No, you said medium kick, right? What am I thinking? Because, like, in my head, that's the only reason the Akuma has a light tatsu at all, is for that combo.
The only reason Akuma has a light tatsu is to pop up for juggles. Like, unironically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Like, that's the default Akuma combo. And most of the combos that I saw for Street Fighter 6 were just, do this sequence, but instead of doing short, you do sweep instead because that's easier. Or like do forward heavy kick into this sequence. That's it. That's your combo.
Oh,
And like genuinely, all of this, like when I said that it was the same sequence, it was just do this punch into that sequence. It was this. It was do forward heavy punch into crouching medium kick, like Tatsu, Shoryu. And like, bitch, that's the first thing I do. That's the first combo that you do in any game. Show me something more advanced. And these were the advanced combos.
Yeah, it like. Street Fighter on some level in any game always is going to boil down to combo wise, crouching medium kick, Hadouken.
Yeah.
It's the heart of Street Fighter is that's what it's about. And it's crazy if you can do something bigger. But it is so weird with Street Fighter 4. But whatever. Anyways, with so many of the myths that you hear, and not just myths, also truths, but stuff that's overblown or stuff that's like, yes, but if we wanted to get rid of this, we'd get part of also what makes fighting games fun.
Yeah.
Are issues that really go back to the games that are relevant from about 2009 to 2013. Because there's also going to be, okay, we need to remove zoning because zoning's too strong. And it's like, that was definitely very accurate for everything NRS was putting out from 2011 to 2013. Don't get me wrong. But has zoning really been crazy strong outside of what NRS does in the time since, or even at that time?
I don't think so. Then again, I can't really think of a game where zoning was particularly strong just in general. Like, zoning can be strong in a matchup.
Injustice 1.
Okay, NRS doesn't count.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's never been that bad in any game except Injustice, but especially Injustice 1 and Injustice 2 have led to that mentality.
Like that's a fucking Midway specific problem. That their zoning is stupid because it doesn't clash. Like that's a fairly easy fix that they just refuse to do because of realism.
And it's iffy from game to game. Because like MK1 definitely has a few strong zoners, and apparently they're a real problem this year. But like MK1, not a really heavy zoning game. Neither was MKX. Yeah. Unless you're that poor kid getting beat up by Justin Wong.
Yeah.
MK11 had some zoning problems, certainly. MK9, God help you with zoning, because that game had dash canceling. So
yeah,
there was like no risk to getting in that game. You could dash and block at the same time. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, like I feel like,
my God, Injustice 1 and Injustice 2 were just so bad about it.
Yeah. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff as a result that got removed or toned down as a result of 09 were problems that were already fixed that we just decided were problems because those people were new, you know?
Yeah.
Cause like, you know, go back to Street Fighter Alpha, go back to
someone's knocking on my door.
All right, give me a sec, or give you a sec. I'll give you a sec. Yes, words. All right, we're back.
All right, what were we discussing when before we split? It was something funny. I remember that.
Fuck. Let's see. We talked about like, you know, like market stuff, like, you know, how different types of games serve different people, and there's currently a market for an unserved market for air dashers, like classic air dashers. Then we moved on to something else, but I forget what I was talking about. I was bringing up Akuma as an example. We are talking about zoning, something about zoning. But I was just about to bring up how like you can go back and look at Street Fighter Alpha and 3 Akuma, and you can do a Zanko Hadouken, and you will notice that it's not an immediate move. It doesn't come out immediately. It actually got buffed in 4.
Yeah.
But there's like a bit of lag or whatever you want to call it between when he actually does the move and when the fireball comes out, to ensure that he can't do or whatever unblockable mix-ups and shit like that with it, unless he really does set play with it, more or less.
Yeah.
But I don't fucking remember why I wanted to bring that up, or why I started to bring that up.
I believe I started discussing where the '09 and shortly after years have influenced so much of fighting game dialogue.
Yeah.
So I believe from there we were talking about how NRS in general and Injustice in specific has resulted in the idea that zoning is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so zoning is bad, grapplers are bad, rushdown is bad.
Neutral, believe it or not, also bad if you're good at it.
Yeah. Buttons, bad. I just need one. It should be the win button. And the opponent should
But it only works on my character.
I was about to say the opponent should have both of their arms broken so they can press it.
If they have a problem with it, then
they
owe me
better.
$5.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's their problem, really.
But yeah, I feel like there is probably a subset of people who I'm not sure if they would be watching this long into the fucking podcast. But there's probably
I would imagine we'd have scared them off long ago.
Yeah. But there's probably a subset of people who would take offense to us, like, boiling it down to that, but, like, I don't know, it really just does feel like it as at least to me, as someone who, you know, is closer to an arcade guy than an 09er.
Excuse me.
Like, we've already had fixes for some of these problems that people have, and, you know, instead of going, alright, does this fix work? Does it not work? Instead of examining the fix and trying to iterate on it until it's fine, we just went, okay, you know what, no. What we're gonna do instead is we're just gonna remove the thing.
That definitely seems like a very popular idea with people who just want to not think about it. The funny thing is, like, I think another major element there is, to a certain degree, what you said with arcades. I wasn't thinking about that. These complaints, of course, are not new, because people would say your character is bullshit in the arcades. The difference is that in the arcade, for one thing, not everybody was hearing what you said in the arcade. There was no Twitter of the time.
Yeah, Horada wasn't in the arcade taking notes.
No, he wasn't. But on top of that, I just saw something really strange in Ikemen. To be honest, another thing that has changed, and it's probably kind of a good thing in some ways, albeit a bad thing in other ways. Used to be that there are certain behaviors that if they happen in the arcade, whether it was you playing a bullshit character or you complaining about what a character you thought was bullshit,
you're gonna beat up, yeah,
would result in you getting your ass beat.
Yeah, it would result in a reenaction of Street Fighter, unless you play Rugal in Latin America, in which case it would result in your death, usually.
Oh man, we shouldn't be just limiting that to the third world, though. Our old buddy Ted has mentioned, oh yeah, if you played Blanca 2 bullshit in a Detroit arcade, yeah, you got your ass beat. That was just the way it was.
Oh no, I'm saying that like, you know, anywhere you could get your ass beat, but if you played Rugal in Latin America, they would shank you. Like,
oh yeah. Like, at a certain point, it's not even that
we need to reintroduce the threat of grievous bodily harm to fighting games.
Yeah.
To ensure that the games stay honest.
We need to add something to the arcade sticks and the game controllers, where if you do this bad thing, it just punches you, it just shoots out a boxing glove that hits you in the fucking balls.
If you buy a hitbox and then you go on Street Fighter 6 and you choose modern controls, the hitbox should blow up in your hands.
It takes your hands, which you weren't using anyways, really.
Yeah.
Oh man, okay, yeah. There also comes the question. I was about to say really, though, with a lot of arcade beatings, it boils down to not even that your character is bullshit. It boils down to I wanted to get into a fist fight and you gave me an excuse. So
Yes.
now I get to enjoy beating you up.
Yes.
But then that leads to the thing of, even with internet dialogue and internet arguments, it's that so often.
I know, yeah.
It's the truth is that JP doesn't bother me that much, but I'm looking to get on and troll. I'm looking to go on the internet and make people upset, and I can go with the convenient excuse of, oh, I'm going to pick a fight because you like Akuma, because you like JP. Because if I just simply went up to someone's social media account and just went, hey, you, go fuck yourself, they would just block me and not indulge me at all. Yeah. So I need to find an excuse for there to be a fight. The more shit changes, the more shit stays the same.
Yeah. Every time we talk about JP, I'm reminded of that one time I was doing my my placements with him in SF6, because I did my placements with all of the fucking the launch roster, and
yeah,
there was this Zangief that I played against, and the first round, no, it wasn't even the first round. I think it was the first round was proper, like, you know, what you'd expect. Second round, I perfected him by just doing good zoning and Kokodeska, which, yeah, I can understand why that's annoying, but still, it's a part of the game. It's in his kit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did Kokodeska, got the perfect, and then I hit the rematch. The guy agreed, and then he just stood there. He put down the controller. Savia? Oh no. Well, shit. Okay, well, I got in contact with W and internet not. Internet doesn't. So finding answer about internet wasn't, I suppose. See you next time.